the gallows of silence. The station called Judgment Spire hung above Earth like a blade held at the planet's throat. From the wide, curved windows of the Galactic High Tribunal, the blue-white arc of humanity's homeworld filled the chamber, beautiful and indifferent. Clouds drifted slowly across oceans. City lights glittered faintly on the night side. To the counselors seated along the elevated crescent dais, it was a reminder, not of life but of ownership. Mist rolled across the polished floor as 12 human women were guided into the center of the hall. They walked in a straight line, wrists bound but backs unbent. Their clothing was deliberately archaic, simple dresses modeled after humanity's pre-interstellar era. The Empire's historians had chosen the garments carefully. Primitive, they had declared. Appropriate. The women knelt when commanded. Not one hesitated. Alien counselors observed them with detached interest. Blue-skinned Zelathai leaned forward, their luminous eyes narrowing. The tall, green-skinned Erwin folded their long fingers together, whispering in subsonic clicks. Holographic panels shimmered to life beside each seat, displaying charges written in cold, mathematical glyphs. High Arbiter Veilcore rose from his throne. Species designation, human, he intoned, voice amplified until it resonated through bone and steel alike. You stand accused of destabilizing galactic equilibrium. Your expansion is unchecked. Your adaptability is excessive. Your refusal to accept imposed limits constitutes a threat. One of the women, older than the others, her hair streaked with gray, lifted her eyes. "We came in peace," she said quietly. Veilcore did not acknowledge her. "The tribunal has determined," he continued, "that your deaths will serve as a corrective demonstration." A murmur rippled through the chamber. Not dissent, but approval. Behind the women, 12 gallows unfolded from the floor with mechanical precision. The devices were stark, wooden in appearance, but reinforced with alloys stronger than starship hulls. Nooses descended, swaying gently as the station's artificial gravity adjusted. The Empire had debated methods. Disintegration was efficient. Atmospheric venting was traditional. But hanging, the Council decided, would humiliate. It would remind humanity of its origins. Fragile bodies, air-dependent, breakable. Cameras hovered into position. The broadcast was live. Across thousands of systems, trillions watched. The women remained still as the executioners, faceless drones, stepped forward. One by one, the nooses were placed around human necks. No screaming, no pleading, only breathing. Veilcore studied them, irritation flickering beneath his composure. "You are permitted final statements." Silence lingered. Then a young woman near the center spoke. Her voice trembled, but did not break. "My name is Elena Morales," she said. "I was a teacher." Another woman followed. "I'm Asha Khan. I worked in emergency response." "I'm Lian Zhou, engineer." Each name echoed through the chamber, cutting through the sterile language of empire. Not criminals, not symbols, people. Veilcore's mandibles tightened. "Enough." One of the women, wearing a dress patterned with faded stars and stripes, closed her eyes. Her lips moved, barely audible. "They'll come," she whispered. The Arbiter raised a clawed hand. "Proceed." The platforms beneath the women began to shift. And then, every hologram in the chamber flickered. The alien counselors stiffened as a new signal forced its way through encrypted channels, overriding imperial authority with brute insistence. Symbols shattered into static. The view of Earth vanished, replaced by a single black screen. White text appeared. "This is humanity." The chamber erupted into confused noise. Veilcore slammed his staff against the floor. "Cut that signal." The text changed. "You are broadcasting to US." The women looked up. The execution mechanisms froze, nooses locked in place. "You have chosen your lesson." Veilcore felt something unfamiliar coil in his chest cavity. "You dare interrupt a lawful tribunal?" The reply came not as text, but as sound. Millions of human voices layered into one, calm and unwavering. "You mistook our restraint for weakness." Sensors screamed as energy signatures spiked beyond the station's detection thresholds, far beyond. The Council's military advisors stared at their displays in growing horror. Human fleets were emerging from null space. Not one, not 10, hundreds, perfectly synchronized. The voice spoke again. This execution does not end today. The feed cut. Silence crashed back into the chamber, heavy and absolute. Vale Core turned slowly toward the viewport. Beyond the glass, the darkness of space was no longer empty. Humanity had arrived, and the Empire, for the first time in its long, unbroken dominion, began to understand. This was not a negotiation. This was the beginning of a reckoning. The line humanity drew. The broadcast ended on Earth at dawn. In a schoolroom in Nairobi, the wall display went black. Children stared in silence at their teacher, who stood frozen, one hand pressed over her mouth. In a hospital in Sao Paulo, surgeons stopped mid-procedure, eyes lifting as the words "This is humanity" replayed in their minds. On orbital platforms above Luna, dockworkers lowered their tools without being told. No riots followed. No panic. Only stillness. Then the world moved. In Geneva, beneath layers of concrete and treaties older than most nations, a red indicator illuminated for the first time in human history. The Black Vault Accords shifted from theory to action. Codes flowed across secure networks, authenticated not by flags or governments, but by unanimous consent. On every continent, doors that had not been opened in generations slid apart. Retired admirals were awakened by encrypted chimes they had prayed never to hear. Scientists whose work had been sealed and buried beneath ethical locks felt those restraints disengage. Factories built for commerce reconfigured themselves with machine precision, their assembly lines rewriting purpose in real time. Humanity did not ask who was responsible. The answer no longer mattered. The footage of the gallows replayed once, only once, during the emergency convergence. 12 faces, 12 names, each recorded, verified, remembered. Then the file was archived, not erased, preserved. Above Earth, the human fleets held position, silent and waiting. They did not attack Judgment Spire. They did not fire a single shot. To the Galactic Empire's sensors, it looked like hesitation. It was not. Deep beneath the Atlantic, the final authorization was given. The silent armada awakened. Ships long believed to be theoretical, built without running lights, without broadcast signatures, slid from concealed docks. Their hulls absorbed light rather than reflecting it, matte black and angular, designed not to inspire awe but inevitability. No speeches were made. No declaration of war was transmitted. Instead, a single message was sent to every known Imperial relay station, translated into thousands of languages with brutal clarity. Stand down. Stand aside. Harm no human civilians. This is your only warning. Some worlds complied immediately. Others laughed. On the imperial capital world of Carveth, High Strategist Threxel dismissed the warning as psychological theater. They show restraint. He scoffed before the assembled war council. That means they still fear consequence. He ordered a fleet mobilization. The order never reached its destination. Humanity struck without spectacle. The first imperial shipyard vanished in a flash of light too fast to be called an explosion. A kinetic mass, accelerated to a fraction of light speed, passed through its core and continued on, punching a second hole through a communications hub half a planet away. No warning alarms. No survivors. Across imperial space, similar strikes followed, precise, surgical, devastating. Not planets. Not populations. Infrastructure. The Empire's vaunted fleets scrambled, finding their supply lines gone, their command nodes silent. Human weapons did not target ships first. They targeted certainty. At Judgment Spire, Vale Core watched in mounting dread as reports cascaded in. Shipyards destroyed. Data vaults erased. Entire sectors blind. Why are they not attacking us? Demanded one counselor. Vale Core did not answer. He had begun to understand. Humanity was not fighting to win battles. They were dismantling the idea of resistance. On Earth, the public learned only what was necessary. There were no victory announcements, no patriotic broadcasts, just a single statement delivered simultaneously across every human network. We are acting so that this never happens again. All civilian shipping was halted. Every human settlement, from inner colonies to fringe outposts, entered defensive posture. Volunteers flooded recruitment channels, only to be turned away. This war would not be fought by numbers. It would be fought by design. Back in Imperial space, panic spread. Lesser species once cowed by the Empire began to defect, severing ties, offering intelligence. Humanity accepted none of it. Neutrality is compliance. One human commander stated simply, "Stay out of our way." When an allied Imperial species attempted to bargain, offering the counselors of Judgment Spire in exchange for mercy, the human response was immediate. This is not a transaction. The Silent Armada advanced deeper. Every hour, another Imperial capability ceased to exist. No broadcasts, no taunts, just absence where power had once been. Veilcore stood alone in the Tribunal chamber now, staring at the frozen gallows. The women remained suspended between life and death, time stretched thin by Imperial stasis fields. He realized, with a clarity that felt like physical pain, that the humans had not come to save them. They had come to answer, and that answer was being written across the stars, one array certainty at a time. Far beyond the Empire's borders, a human admiral watched the tactical map with steady eyes. "Maintain silence," she ordered. "Proceed to Phase 2. The line had been drawn, and humanity was crossing it together. A war no alien could survive. The Galactic Empire collapsed in fragments, not all at once. From the outside, it still looked immense. Thousands of worlds, ancient fleets, banners that had flown unchallenged for centuries. But beneath the surface, something vital had been severed. Command nodes failed to answer. Supply convoys vanished between stars. Entire admiralties waited for orders that never came. Humanity had not decapitated the Empire. They had removed its nervous system. Imperial Fleet Group Oryx was the first to die fully aware. They assembled near the red giant Tarsuan, 200 warships strong, layered in overlapping shield formations perfected through generations of conquest. Admiral Shrevik addressed his crews with practiced confidence. "The humans hide behind precision strikes. Force will break them." Humanity answered with silence. No fleets appeared. No warnings followed. Then space itself seemed to tear. Human vessels did not arrive from hyperspace or jump corridors. They emerged from nowhere, bleeding into reality as if the universe had failed to reject them. Before Imperial sensors could lock targets, the humans fired. Not energy, mass. Thousands of autonomous projectiles, dense, needle-thin, accelerated to relativistic speed, guided by artificial intelligences that did not hesitate, did not miss. Shields flared once, twice, then collapsed under physics no doctrine could argue against. Fleet Group Oryx ceased to exist in 43 seconds. Debris clouds expanded where warships had been, their atoms scattered into radiation and dust. No escape pods launched. The humans had timed their strike so precisely that survival was mathematically impossible. Across the Empire, similar reports spread like infection. Human war doctrine defied expectation. They did not press territory. They did not occupy worlds. When planetary defenses powered up, human ships simply bypassed them, erasing orbital infrastructure instead. Planets were left intact, isolated, deaf, and helpless. "Why do they spare the worlds?" wailed a minor governor during his final transmission. The answer came hours later, broadcast on a seized Imperial channel. "We are not here for your land. We are here for your systems." At Judgment Spire, Veilcore listened as the Empire unraveled around him. Counselors argued, blamed, pleaded. Some demanded the immediate execution of the women. Vengeance, at least. Others feared provoking something worse. Veilcore understood the futility of both. "They are not reacting," he said quietly. "They are executing a plan." The phrase began circulating among surviving Imperial officers, whispered with growing terror. The humans are not at war. They are correcting. When an Imperial battle group attempted a desperate strike on human colony world, seeking leverage, their fleet was intercepted long before it reached its target. Humanity responded not with defense, but annihilation. The battle group vanished, along with the star they had tried to hide behind. The weapon used was never named. It collapsed stellar mass inward for a fraction of a second, then released it violently outward, turning a sun into a storm of plasma and death. The message was unmistakable. Do not touch them. Galactic communication channels filled with a single rule, spreading faster than fear. Never harm human civilians. Species once loyal to the Empire began abandoning it openly. Fleets turned back mid-jump. Garrisons stood down. Governors declared neutrality and sealed their systems, hoping invisibility would save them. Humanity ignored their declarations. They were not enemies. They were irrelevant. The Silent Armada advanced toward the Empire's core worlds now, methodical and unstoppable. Where resistance formed, it vanished. Where surrender was offered, it went unanswered. Human commanders did not celebrate. They did not rage. Their communications were short, precise, stripped of emotion. Target eliminated. Path cleared. Proceed. For the first time in galactic history, an empire faced extinction without spectacle. On Judgment Spire, alarms howled as human forces breached the outer perimeter, not with explosions, but with surgical precision, cutting docking clamps, severing power conduits, isolating the station from escape. Veilcore stood before the viewport as human ships surrounded the Tribunal station. They did not fire. They waited. "Why haven't they destroyed us?" a counselor whispered, voice cracking. Veilcore closed his eyes. "Because this is not about us," he said. "It never was." Deep within the station, the stasis fields holding the 12 women began to fail, not from damage, but from deliberate human override. Medical teams were already en route, human transponders locking on life signs with fierce accuracy. The Empire had believed execution would be the message. Humanity had turned it into a lesson. As the Silent Armada tightened its grip on the Imperial heart, one truth became undeniable across the galaxy. This was not a war that could be won. It was a war that could only end. And when it did, there would be nothing left of the Galactic Empire but memory and warning. The reckoning. Judgment Spire was silent when the humans finally entered. Not the silence of fear or of power failing, but the heavy quiet that follows certainty. Human boarding teams moved through the Tribunal station in disciplined formations, weapons lowered but ready, armor dark and unmarked. They met no resistance. There was nothing left to resist with. The 12 women were found in the central chamber. Stasis fields shimmered weakly around them, flickering like dying stars. Human medics moved with urgency and reverence, severing restraints, supporting bodies grown fragile from suspended time. Some women stirred. Some did not. The Empire's mistake had not been in cruelty alone. It had been in assuming the outcome would matter to humanity's response. High Arbiter Veilcore was taken without force. His staff was removed, his ceremonial armor stripped away until he stood exposed and diminished, a creature no different from any other. He was escorted, politely, to the very dais where he had pronounced judgment. The remaining counselors were gathered there as well, trembling beneath lights they could no longer control. Humanity did not execute them. Humanity convened a tribunal. The chamber's architecture reshaped itself under human command. Holograms reconfiguring, seats lowered, symbols of imperial dominance erased and replaced with nothing at all. Emptiness, where authority once sat. A single human representative stepped forward. She wore no medals, no insignia, only a simple black uniform. "This session will be broadcast," she said calmly, her voice carried across every surviving imperial channel. Not for justice, for record. The lights dimmed. The air filled with images. World after world appeared. Imperial shipyards reduced to drifting debris, command nexuses hollowed out, fleets erased without warning. Timelines scrolled beside them, precise to the second. Every strike, Every loss. The counselors watched, horrified, as the scope of humanity's work unfolded. This is the cost of your decision, the human representative continued. Not your punishment, your consequence. Veilcor found his voice at last. You have destroyed an empire, he rasped. Billions will suffer. Yes, she replied. They will. She did not sound pleased. We did not come for revenge, she went on. We came to make certainty impossible, so that no power like yours can ever again believe cruelty is governance. One counselor collapsed, unable to endure the display. Another screamed, demanding death over humiliation. The human representative shook her head. Death would end this, she said. We are ending you. With a gesture, the final images appeared. The imperial capital world. Intact. Alone. All imperial military assets have been eliminated, she said. All communication erased, dismantled. All alliances dissolved. Your worlds remain untouched. A pause. You will not be rescued. The meaning sank in slowly, like poison. Humanity would not occupy them, would not rule them, would not even watch them closely. They will be irrelevant. The Galactic Empire is hereby dissolved, the human representative concluded. Effective immediately, the broadcast ended. Veilcor was returned to his people, not as a ruler, but as a reminder. Judgment Spire was dismantled piece by piece, its materials repurposed or cast into the star it once orbited. The gallows were the last to go, reduced to raw atoms and scattered beyond recovery. On Earth, there were no celebrations. Cities remained quiet. Flags flew at half-mast. Memorials rose in parks and plazas, not grand or triumphant, but simple, stone, names, and silence. The 12 women were remembered whether they lived or died. Their names were taught in schools, their faces carved into memory. Elena Morales, Asha Khan, Lien Zhou, and others. Human fleets withdrew from former imperial space, leaving behind a galaxy forever altered. New powers would rise. Old wounds would scar. But one law would endure, unspoken yet absolute. Never touch human civilians. Ever again. Years later, a child would ask why humanity had destroyed an empire rather than ruling it. The answer would be simple. Because some lines are not borders, the teacher would say. They are promises. And when the Galactic Empire tried to hang human women, humanity answered, with a reckoning no alien could survive.